that we are recording. Yun. Ano ba ginawa natin last week? I will just speak Tagalog because we will just teach Jan Tagalog. Okay, Jan? Just understand the Tagalog, okay?
Tagalog.
Akbar is gone also, the big guy. He's now in India. Ito na, Raymark.
Yes po. Magandang gabi po.
Sa Mount Everest pa si ano.
Hindi ka pumasok, Raymark.
May sakit po si baby, sir.
Babysitting muna. Yan.
Opo.
Yan. At least may monitor tayo. Raymark, pagka nawala yung share screen, magsha-shout ka agad para ano.
Okay, sige pa.
So, si-share ko na para ma-record natin. Wala pa pala akong Revit. 2023. So for those who were not here in the last two sessions, we did the structures, right? Jan, what did we do last week? What did we put inside the building? Columns, right? The supports, right? So for the first part of our lecture, I will just run down quickly in 30 minutes or less what we did last session. So this will serve as your review as well, okay? Yeah, if you will notice now on my screen, wait, let me share first the screen.
Saan lang may focus sa structural or sa architectural?
Structure, sir. Yeah. So if you can see now on my screen, what I did is we have now a new file here called Saturday Building with STR as and we have our Saturday Building. So let us start first by looking at our Saturday Building. This is just a review, okay?
Sa iba sa ko, sir. So, napapa-structural. Architectural pa rin siya.
Hindi, sir. Papakita ko sa inyo kung paano gawin. Okay? We will link it. We will link it. We are still waiting for Atifem because everybody is waiting for Atifem. Maybe Atifem is watching this. She will watch this next week. Okay. So this is our architectural model. Okay. For some reason, there are some errors. See what happened here. I think because this is because of the structural steel we did, right? We also did the structural steel truss for the roof. So just for your information also, you will see errors like this in Revit because there is some error in the model. So for in this case, the truss that we did is protruding out of the architectural roof. That's why there is a warning there. Okay. If you click on the where is the warning? On the manage tab. This is actually for, let's say, consultants like Architect Pax and Architect Jomel, no? And even our engineer Harold and everyone. When you receive a Revit model from your contractor or sub-consultant, you can simply quickly go through the review warnings. So these review warnings will tell you what are the issues in the model. So for now, we have very less warning. I have only one warning. This is on the architectural model. But later on, on the structural model, we'll see also some of the errors. But this is just a sample. In the real models, usually there are maybe hundreds of errors that happens during the production of the BIM. Okay? And these are reports that you can export as a HTML file or PDF file that you can simply print. Okay?
Regarding the warning, sir, what does it tell us?
Like this, for example, rooms, there is an ID, there is this is the comment. Room is not in a properly enclosed region. This is the mistake already. And it will tell you which one, so it has an identification number right there.
It will point directly to the.
Yeah, if you click show here, if you click show, it will move to the plan where it is. But this is roof deck 22, so it would be best if you open first. I'll close this. I will open first the roof plan, which is this, and then you go back to your review warning. Then you click on this review. You will see it's already highlighted right there. The issue is that this room is not in an enclosed area, right? Because this is just like an open space. Because the definition of room in Revit is that it is bounded by at least 3 walls, that it is enclosed. Okay, or maybe it's a circle, it will be considered as a room. Okay, so I'll just close this now. So we just look at the architectural model, and now let me walk you through how to prepare your structural model. So what we are doing is we are linking an architectural file. So we sit now in the situation of the engineer. You are the structural engineer, and you are bringing in the architect's architectural model. So you will now start a new template. We go to the US metric, English, default, where we have the structural analysis default metric. Okay, then we click open and make sure we are creating a new project and just click OK. Okay, I will be fast, okay, since this is recorded, so you can just watch this again. So let's go to level 1, and now it's time to bring in a link Revit file. So we'll bring in the architect's Revit file, go to Insert tab, and link Revit. Then you go where your file is. So on my part, my file is in my documents, in Focus, and Saturday Building. This is the architect's model. Before you link, there's a positioning here that you have several options. So for example, you are working on a real project. Usually it will be having a shared coordinates. So if it's in a shared coordinates, you have to choose by shared coordinates. But in our part, since we don't have a shared coordinates, we'll just go to internal origin to internal origin. So it's like going to 0, 0. And then we click open. Yeah. So now your Revit architecture model is linked into your project. If you look into the 3D view, you will see that many elements are missing. Okay, don't worry, these elements are missing not because they are not there, but because they are just hidden due to the visibility graphics and because of the the discipline that is that we are using. No? So for structural, the architectural elements are already switched off, like doors and windows. To check that, actually, if you go to visibility graphics, under view tab, you have visibility graphics, right? The shortcut is VG. So if you can just type VG, that will be your visibility graphics. You will see here that everything that is not checked are missing in the model. So let's say, for example, the doors. The doors are unchecked, so you cannot see them. So if you check them, if you want to see where the doors are, just check this and then just click OK. You'll see now that the doors are seen. Okay, so just by default, the structural template is not showing the doors because sometimes you don't really need it in creating your model. But if you need it, for example, just to check that none of your structural elements will hit the door, you can switch it on in this visibility graphics view. But each visibility graphics, for everyone's knowledge, is dependent on the view. So if we change the visibility graphics in the 3D view, it is not necessarily have been edited or updated in the other view. Let's say, for example, in level 1. This is level 1. So there's supposed to be a door here, but still it is not showing. So in short, visibility graphics is dependent on each view of your model. So if I go now again to visibility graphics here, actually the doors is on in this particular view. But maybe there is no doors really here, or let's check level 2. Check again visibility graphics. The doors is actually on, but why is it not showing? So later on, you'll find out why. Okay, but let's look at the other views here in the structural plan. By default, you also have an east and all of the elevations. Look at the elevation. You can now see most of the elements in the architectural linked model. If we check now the visibility graphics here, you can notice that most of the elements are checked. So these are the default visibility graphics that are loaded in the structural template. Okay. So don't be confused. Just check your elevation if you cannot see anything on the 3D view, or maybe you can see only very few things. In the elevation, usually you will see everything. Okay. So let's now go to creating some of your structural elements as a review. We already discussed this in the last 2 sessions. This is just a review. What we did last time is who remembered what did we do on the levels? Did you remember the copy monitor that we did? In the elevation view, you will see that there are only 2 levels, which is here in the structural model. By default, there's only level 1 and level 2. What you can do is you can match the other level, make this 4,000. And you can also copy the rest of the levels. So you will have levels also in the structural model. Because this is a link file, you cannot really move or edit anything here in the link model. So if you are familiar with AutoCAD, in AutoCAD we have what we call XREF. Okay, but even in AutoCAD, the XREF can be edited in some ways. But here it is difficult to edit the link file. So that gives a protection to the originator of the architectural model or any other model in that matter. So if you want to be faster, you don't want to create new levels, what we can do is copy monitor. So the term is copy monitor. We go to our collaborate tool, collaborate tab, and here we have what we call as the copy monitor. So if you click copy monitor, it will let you choose a link. So we'll click link, select link, then we'll click the link that we have, which is this. Then you click copy, then you copy what you want. So we will be copying the level, this. It takes some time, and also this, this. So we need only the 3 levels and some basement level also. Okay. So now when we're done, we click finish. So now look, we can now click this and move this here because we already copied at the level. But see, the level in the link file remains there because we just copied the elements. The meaning of monitor is you are seeing this symbol that Revit is monitoring if you will do anything with the copied elements. If you change the elements, it will tell you that it will become an error. So for example, by mistake, you moved it. See, there is already a warning there. It says that level move by 1600. So let's say you did not change that. So later on, you'll find out that that is one of the warnings already. Warning is not yet shown, but later on we will be able to check that there is that warning. Okay. So let's just bring this back to its correct place. Okay, those are just some of the things that you will do. So what are the other things that you can copy from a link file? You can also copy the grid because we started, if you remember, we started um, a template without any grid. So what we can do is we can copy the grid from the architectural model. And while I missed something, make sure that when you link a file, we have to pin it so it will not move in its place. Okay, you have to make sure you pin it. So now we will be copying the grids. So similar way that we did earlier, we just go to collaborate and then copy monitor, select the link. This is the link. And then we copy the grids. It's not possible to do it one time. You have to do it one by one. 1, 2, there. I think I copied already. And I click finish. I will undo it again. I will copy. Actually, it's possible to click everything, but you have to make sure that you click multiple. You click multiple, you can now do this. But we selected everything. What can we do? We don't have a filter option here, actually. But we can try to go to our modify tab. Where is our filter tool? So we don't have the filter available. So it's a little bit of a problem when you're doing that. So what we can do is just maybe you can do like this, select like that. That's okay. It's been copied. So you cannot do like copy everything. That's okay, right? And then we are done. Click finish. Yeah. So now we can move this just to show that this is our structural grid. Okay, so just like that. So we'll just show now here how to create a few columns. So let's go back to our level 1 plan, for example. We are still in the level 1 plan. We'll create a column. Under structure tab, we have column. Then let's say we'll get the rectangular column, which is 300 by 450. Then we have the option to place it at grids. This time you can just select all your grid. Then automatically you have all those columns set up. Okay, you can just click finish and then you can just remove the columns that you don't need because you place them in each of the intersection of the grid. So if we look at our 3D view now, we already place our columns, but look, our columns is actually coming from the level 1 going down to the basement. Okay, so there in Revit structure, there's a different concept. So this is architectural and this is structural. When we create an element, let's say this is level 1, this is level 2. If we are working in level 1 and we are in architecture and we are in level 1, usually when we create a wall, our wall is coming from the level 1 up to level 2, right? Upwards. In structure, when we create a column and we are in level 1, automatically that goes down. Okay? In the sense that the structural is always supporting the architectural model. So, for example, we are just doing an individual file without linking the models. So, if you're in level 1, you can create the wall, and at the same time, you can create the foundation for your wall. So that's how they made it work this way. But when you already place your model in certain cases like this, you can select the column. In this case, I will select all of the column. Select all instances in the view. Since these are similar elements, we can actually modify the constraints. So right now, the base level is level 1. We can actually change that to the basement level. And then the top level can remain at level 1. So what we can do is we can make this at basement level, and then we remove the base offset, make this 0. Now look what's gonna happen. So that's how it is supposed to be. So you'll have those columns at the basement, which starts at the basement level and ends at level 1. Okay. So another way to work faster is when you already have your columns at the lower floor, usually there is a similarity with your floors at the top floor. Maybe there will just be some columns that will differ in sizes, or maybe some columns will be removed. What you can do is you can just copy to clipboard and paste, align it to selected level, which this time will be level 2, because we know it starts at the top, right? We say level 2 and click OK. So you have now that column. Okay. So if you want to change the size of the column at the upper floor, you have the option here to choose another size. But since we don't have a size here, we cannot change it yet. So if you want to create a new size, you can just duplicate and make a, let's say, 300 by 300. And click OK. And modify this as well, make it 300. And then click apply and OK. So now all of these columns that we created at the level 1 are now different size. So we can see that actually if we shade it, so you will see now that there's a difference on that column. Okay, so let's say we are done with all of the columns and we have completed everything. Make sure you save your file. You'll save it as Saturday structures. I'll just put make it Saturday structures 2 underscore 2. Okay, and we'll click save. Okay, so let's say you have completed your structural model. I will close this now. Now you are back to being the architect. Okay, so the structural engineer submitted his model. It is actually here. I will just remove it for now. I'll remove it. Yes. Okay. So for example, the structural engineer is done creating the model. He submits it to the architect. So the architect will now insert the structural model, which is this. Okay. No, the Saturday building structure. This. Okay. Same positioning, internal origin to internal origin, and then click open. So now automatically the column, the supports will be right there in the building. it will come as the model. So that is the workflow in bringing in structural model into your architectural model. Okay. Do you have any questions that you want to clarify on what we did last time? No questions, Nana? Oh, this is how you control it. For example, you don't want to show the structural model here, the link file. You go to manage link, manage, then you have here manage links. So you will see here that you have one link that is one file that is linked into your model. In actual projects, you will have maybe 10 or even 20 links that will be there. So what you can do if you don't want to see it, you will just unload, click OK, and OK. So it will be unloaded, but it is still in the file. So if I go back to manage link, if you want to reload it, just select it and reload it. Then click OK, it will be there. So let's go back. What is the use of reload from? So reload from, for example, you place the model, the link model in another folder, or maybe you receive an updated model from your consultant and you placed it somewhere else. You can select this and you click reload from another folder location. Okay, so that's one. And if you want to totally remove it, select it and just remove. I will remove it. Okay. Now you cannot put it back without linking it. So there's two ways to link it. Either you insert and click link Revit. It will bring you to the folder where you need to take your model, or you go to your manage link and click add here. If you click add, you can take the Saturday's building structure. Just make sure that you know the positioning and click open. It will be there now. If you have other files that you want to link, let's say the plumbing, the mechanical, later on we'll do that. After we do our mechanical and plumbing, we will load it into this same model. So later on, we will have at least four linked files into this architectural model. Okay.
How to put finishing on the structural exposed surface?
Oh yes, that's a good question. That's a good question. Actually, in actual practice of modeling, because what we have in let me show you. That is not usually done in the structural model. It is not usually done in the structural model. It will be done in the architectural model. So since we are in the architectural model now, and now let's go to the ground floor where we can see the column. Where is the link file? Did we link? Anna, where are the columns? Oh, we did not link it. We add the link. So I did not click OK, right? Open. There's the link and click OK. So we have columns. So of course, our architects will be very much concerned. This is a rough structure, no finishing, no plaster, or no cladding, right? In certain cases where we have an architectural column, the architectural column will be composed of the finishing part only. So let's say only the plaster or maybe just the cladding. So if you actually go to architecture, we have here a column. This is the architectural column. If you click that architectural column, you have this option, which is just the rectangular column. And if we load family, we go here to column. Make sure that you are in the correct folder, English, go to US and columns. This folder is particularly for architectural columns only. The structural column is this folder. It says structural. Okay, so don't be mistaken on that. This is the architectural column where you have options. You have a chamfered column. This is what mostly is done in the Philippines because we don't want to have that chips on the corner. We have also a metal clad column, cladding column, mostly in commercial projects probably. You have a rectangular column also. Then you have a round, and you even have timber columns here. So on the part of the question of architect packs, it is actually this. Let's say we can try on the metal cladding and click open. Then we can put it here. Actually, it can be a bigger one maybe. Do we have? We have only one. Okay. If we have only one, can we also modify it? Edit type. Yeah, we can create a new one. Duplicate. Then let's say we'll make an 810 millimeter. There must be a reason why there's a 10 millimeter difference. Okay, and then just change the diameter here. Make it 810. And click apply and okay. So it's now a bigger column. So if you look at this column in 3D, so this column is actually covering now the structural component. Okay. Another way to do that is, for example, you just want a plaster. Just a plaster on the column. Let's do a plaster here. What we usually do is we'll create a wall. We'll create a wall. Actually, it's a wall sweep usually, but we'll just create a wall. Architectural wall. We'll take one of the sample. We'll take one of the generic. Let's say if you want it to be like a brick around the structural column, we can use the brick. We have here the generic 90 mm brick. And we can draw a brick around the column. Just change this to finish space interior. So you can draw like that. There. You already have a finishing on the column. If we check this, so this is now our column. It will now be cladded with bricks. So you have those options. It can also be just concrete. If you want to use plaster, what you can do is like this. Let's try another one. Let's say this. We just want a plaster on this side. We go to wall, architectural. Let's choose one of the thin ones. Let's say generic 200, and then we will modify this. Edit type. We'll now be doing duplicate, and then we'll say that this is plaster. Of course, the Archinex now. Ilang mm, sir? 25 mm? Yeah. 25 mm, click OK, and then we edit the structure right here. Edit. We'll change the thickness to 25. And then by default, this is a white cladded, so white color. So if you want it to remain as white, then you can just keep that finish and then just click OK. Click up OK. Yeah. Right. So in the preview, it will just be a very thin wall, and click apply and OK. So now this time we will do the wall. Similar way that we did it for this, for this column. We will just draw it like this. Other way around, from here to there. So you will see the difference now between this and that. Let's say if I select this two, if I take one section view, view, there's that. Yeah, see, you will see now the difference. This is the bare concrete column, and this is the concrete column with the plaster. Okay. Another way to add the plaster to your component is like this. When you're on the ground floor, usually our wall by default does not have a plaster. In architectural CAD drawings, we are even showing the thickness, right? So how do we show it in AutoCAD, in Revit? So we select this type of wall, which is generic 200 mm. Actually, the generic 200 mm sometimes is 150 mm block, and then you have 25 and 25, right? So let's do it like that and edit the type. We'll duplicate first. Let's name it as 150 mm block with plaster. Click OK. Then we edit the structure. It's good to have the preview on when you are doing this. Time remaining is 3 minutes. Okay. Have to make sure we finish on time. Then we'll have another meeting link because this is just the free version. Okay, so we click this structure. Where is that? Okay, so the structure now is the middle part, which is the hollow block. Then we will click here and we'll insert a new, another material, which will be, let's say, cement sand. Yeah, cement sand screed, because that's similar to the plaster. Okay, and it will look like this in the plan view. There is that in the appearance. Ayun, okay. So, the graphics. Yeah, it will be like this in the plan view with the small dots. Then we click OK. And we identify the thickness. We make this 25. And this block work, the hollow block supposedly, will be 150. Okay, and then we add another element, which is 25. Then we use the material similar to the other side, which is this. Click OK. So now, by default, you will have your walls like this, which is actually how we do it in the architectural shop drawing level, if you want.
Similar if you provide the finish for painting.
You can also add a very thin layer for the paint. So let's say if you want to add a very thin layer for the paint, we will sort of exaggerate it. Let's say we'll make it 5 mm. Okay, so let us insert another one. So this will be paint. Okay, so let's just maybe just try this clad white. Okay, as the material. Then click OK. We can actually rename this. This will be the finish. Okay, the actual finish. And then we need put this 2 mm. Okay. Oh, 5 mm. Yeah, you will see now that there is a finish there. So it can be a multi-layered wall. Okay. So let's say you want to have the paint only on one side and the other one will be fair. So this is also applicable, especially for architects, when you have different types of walls. You have certain walls that is facing that is inside the toilet. So on one side there is a tiles, ceramic tiles. On the other side there is paint. So you can have different combination of walls in your particular project. Okay. So these things are not readily available by default in Revit. So this is what you customize your wall types. Of course, other companies who already have set up their standards may have this type of details. Me, I did something like this for my projects in the Philippines because we all usually have 4-inch blocks for the inside the house, and then different situation we have plaster and maybe we have tiles on one side.